Welcome to the 3 Minute Theologian, a theology podcast about what we believe, written by the pastors of Waukee Community Church. I'm your host, Peter Jaques, and today we're discussing the infallibility of the Bible. A few years ago, Pastor Dave promised his son that he'd pick him up from school and take him out to lunch. However, some things unexpectedly came up, and he had to cancel their plans. When Dave got home that night, he was greeted by a little boy with tears running down his face, crying out between sobs, "But Dad, you promised. You broke your word." Unlike us, God is perfect. But will he ever break his word? Could God's word ever fail? Isaiah 55:11 says, "My word that goes out from my mouth shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose, and shall succeed in the thing for which I sent it." The infallibility of the Bible means at least three things. First, it means that God's words will not fail. The word infallible means exactly what you think. God's word is unable to fail. God always keeps the promise of his word. God always fulfills the prophecies of his word. And God always accomplishes the intent of his word. God finishes what he starts, and he is incapable of anything less. Infallibility means God's promises are true. They will be true, and it is impossible for God's word not to come true. Second, infallibility means that God's purpose will succeed. As the prophet Isaiah says, the purpose of God's word is to transform his people. Through his word, God accomplishes his purpose to redeem a people for himself. We read that in Exodus 6:6-8, and he will. God accomplishes his purpose to use evil for good, Genesis 50:20 and Romans 8:28, and he will. God accomplishes his purpose to spend eternity with his children, and he will. Sometimes we don't think that God is at work in our lives. We doubt his purpose, but don't do that. Whenever you hear or share God's word, know God is accomplishing his purpose. And last, infallibility means that God's promises will be accomplished. Infallibility matters because the Bible is filled with promises to you. God promises to give you life. In Psalm 19:7, God promises to make you wise. And in 2 Peter 1:3, God promises to give you power. And in 2 Timothy 3:17, God promises to make you complete. In the darkest moments of life, we may doubt whether God will keep his word, but we need not fear. God gave every letter of his word for a reason, and God will always keep his word to us. He sends out his word with purpose and in power. It will always succeed in coming true. You and I can confidently rest in the promises of God because his word will never fail.